I think that's a good one, right? Why buy? Okay, so we have fixed costs when you buy, right? The only thing that's changing when you get a 30-year fixed mortgage is the insurance cost and your property taxes. On your average house, your 3-2 1,600 footer, those will on average combined go up $15 a month per year. So your property taxes usually are going to go up $10 a month a year, and your insurance is probably going to go up $5 a month per year. So the principal and interest portion of your payment does not move, no changes. So if you figure that you're paying, let's say $1,600 a month, that's kind of like in the wheelhouse, right, for a mortgage payment. The only part that's going to vary is your $15 a month, and that's just based on, hey, I bought the house, year one payment was $1,600, my insurance cost crept $60 that year, 60 divided by 12 is 5, and then my property taxes went up $120, about 3% of the value of your house. So in year two, you're paying $1,615 a month. Now this same house, if you were to be renting $1,600, rents went up 10% in 2019. So let's say they go up, just for round numbers, that rents go up 10% in 2020. You're paying $1,760 a month year two. So you buy it, year one you're paying $1,600, you rent it, year one you're paying $1,600. Year two, you may be paying $1,600, but we'll just make an adjustment for taxes and insurance. You're paying $1,615. Well, year two, you're at $1,760. So year three, you'll be at $1,630, let's say. And then what's 176 plus 1,760? It's like an 8, maybe 1,900. You're paying $1,900 a month year three. So this is one of the biggest reasons to buy, is just to simply cap your monthly expenses. Because housing, a lot of people, especially in this area, they are paying between 30 and 50% of their gross income, that's before taxes, to go towards their housing expenses. So if you can buy a house and lock this in, that sets your variable costs, and that locks your biggest expense down. So if you for no other reason buy a house, you buy it simply because in 20 years, your payment's going to be still pretty close to this, where in 20 years, the rent on that same house is going to be astronomical. It could be 2 or 3-fold. And the other nice thing is the concept of inflation. So you're buying it with today's dollars, and we know that a dollar every year buys a little bit less and a little bit less. So a bag of groceries in 1960, maybe that was $2. Now that same bag of groceries is $50. And the reason for that is inflation. The value of your dollar compared to the goods and services it can buy decreases over time. So as this increases, it is increasing at a decreasing rate, because let's say you made $10 an hour in 2000, you're making $30 an hour in 2020. In 2030, maybe you're making $40 an hour because of inflation, but your payment stays the same. So think about what $1,600 will be in 20 years. It'll probably be maybe a car payment, or if it's really bad, a bag of groceries. So rents go up, your payment doesn't really go up. So that's the number one reason. Second one, we can do equity plays. So that would be, you bought it for $300. Eventually your house is going to be worth $400,000, right? So if you pay 3, and what is 300 minus 400?
300 minus 400 is negative 100.
You're going to have $100,000 in equity in your house, let's say in 10 years. So I bought mine in 2013. It's worth over double what I paid for it. So I probably have like 150 in 7 years. So yeah, it'd be fair to say that in 10 years, your $300,000 house will be worth $400,000. So if that was the case, what's half of $100,000? $50,000. So let's say that you just take half of your equity through a home equity line of credit. You don't want to refinance because then this payment goes up. So let's assume that we want to keep our payment fixed, but we want to access $50K to buy an investment property. So all you had to do was buy this house, and now you've magically, through the process of sitting on your duff, been able to accumulate enough money to buy a second property, or if you use your 100 grand, a multi-unit. So you buy one house, you fix your costs, and then over time, you'll naturally get forced appreciation if you're fixing the place up at all, on top of the market increasing. Now you have access to capital to invest. Now you can go buy more real estate with that. You could get into like a REIT, you could invest in the stock market. So that's number two, is now I've owned this thing for a few years. I can just go to my local credit union and say, hey, get me a line of credit, borrow some dough and go buy a duplex. And then that duplex is going to go up in value. It's going to pay its mortgage off. We know the rents are going to go up, but the payment's going to stay the same, or relatively the same. And then you can do it again. Let's see, why buy number 3? Oh, there's more stuff on there. So 1, you fix your costs. 2, you can do an equity play. And 3, there's tax benefits. The interest that you pay on your mortgage is deductible on your taxes. So especially the first few years, because of amortization, which is basically the most genius thing in finance that was ever created, is you pay all your interest the first 10 years of your loan, and then you actually pay the loan off the last 20. So since you have a ton of interest, let's say that your first 12 payments, let's say that's $12,000 in interest. I need to learn how to write. This $12,000 can come off your adjusted gross income. So that means you don't have to pay taxes on this. And if you pay a 33% tax rate, a third of $12,000 is what, $4,000? So not only are you paying your house off, your payments don't go up. You're going to be able to grab equity and invest in more real estate. But now you're saving $4,000 a year in taxes, assuming you paid $1,000 a month out of your $1,600 payment in interest. So 4,000 divided by 12, $3,300 or $333, something like that. So if you account for that, let's just say 300 to be on the low side. Out of your 1,600, you're saving 300 a month. So now the cost of this house is $1,300 a month because of the taxes you don't have to pay on this. Does that make sense?
It does.
You tracking? We're tracking. What's another reason to invest or to buy?
Prices are only going to go up.
Prices are, oh, the flip. Here's another dirty one. So you can also do a fun little game. Let's call it buy 6, get the 7th free. How could you do that? The mortgage, no, what is it called? You have an exemption on capital gains for owner-occupied properties. So I'm gonna flip this puppy over. I'm winging it, so my math might not be perfect on this, but it's gonna be pretty close. So the idea, the overarching idea, is you sell every other year. So let's start with, let's say the market goes up 6% a year. Can we say that? 6% increase in value. So let's start, let's say year 2000. Let's buy a house for $250. And for simple, 5%. 5 times 2 is?
10.
1.1 times this is?
275,000.
So assuming the market goes up 5% a year, my math's not perfect. This 250 be worth 275 in 2002. But let's say you bought this thing and need a little bit of work. So we do what's called forced appreciation. You painted it, you threw new carpet in it, you tuned up the landscaping over a 2-year process. So you did all the work yourself. Your weekend warrior, go to Lowe's, go. Buy a vanity on sale at Costco, stick it in, put new flooring in the bathroom one weekend, new toilet the next, right? You've got 2 years, that's 104 weekends that you could tune your house up. So the market pushed it to 275, and then you did another 25,000 in forced appreciation. So now it's worth 300. You've also paid the mortgage down a little bit in the process. Let's say that you put 5% down, so that's what, $12,500. So your mortgage on this would be $238,500. You paid $5,000 down on it, so you owe $233,000. It sells for $300,000. Cost of sales 6% minus 18, $278,000. So $278,000 minus $233,000. $45,000. So you net $45,000 out of this. You bought it for $250,000. You sold it for $300,000. So the $50,000 difference, if you lived in that thing for 2 years, it's tax free. So you roll, and then we just did the math on this, right? So you're going to end up with, say, $45,000 after your cost of sales, and then you buy another one in 2002, right? 2 years, and then 2004. So let's say we just average it out now to 50. So we got 50 after 2 years. We have 100 after 4. We have 150 after 6. We have 200 at year 8. We have 250 at year 10. So from 2000 to 2010, I bought, did forced appreciation, rode the market, now I have 250 cash tax free. So at year 12, you have 300 cash. So is that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th one's free. You pay cash for it. 350. You buy a house for 350.
Yeah.
That's another really cool thing to do. I learned that from my parents because my dad's a builder. So he would build a house, we'd move into it, he'd sell it. But that was a 6-figure gain every time because he didn't take any profit or anything. So instead of buying that house or building the house and then selling it and then paying 30% in taxes on that $100,000, he'd pay no taxes. And every 2 years, 100, 200, 300, 400. So as a builder, it's even better. But we can do this now if you want to buy 6 and get the 7 for free. So that would be another reason to buy. Yeah. Any questions?
No, it's cool. It's a good strategy.
Yeah, you just got to convince your wife to move every other year. Hey,
That's what I've been doing.
let's go, baby. Yeah, you can do this with the other stuff at the same time if you want to. Buy a real turd and you probably could get 60, 70, and it's just math. So if this was 60, 6 times 5 is 35. 7 times 5 is 35. You have a question?
Yeah. So those repairs for the forced appreciation, if you buy something that's not a complete, needs a new roof, needs foundation work, like it just is gross on the inside, what would be an average cost to rehab that thing?
Ugly and stinky.
Ugly, stinky, but solid.
Yeah, so good bones. All the systems are in place. The cheapest one is called a LiveHab. There's four levels of fixing it up. So LiveHab is $4 to $6 a square foot. So that would be paint, carpet. Next one up, $8 to $12 a foot. That's paint, flooring, one major system, like a roof or heating and air system. You got like your $20 to $24 a foot. That's paint, roof, 2 major systems. So paint, flooring, 2 major systems, and then like a full rehab can be $40 a foot and up.
Okay.
And that's like, right, we're ripping drywall, we're changing electrical, heating and air, roof. But the assumption in all these scenarios is it's ugly and stinky, but it's not falling off the side of a hill or in a bad neighborhood. So yeah, you could. Most of these are going to be here, and this is paying professional. So if you do it yourself, right, a painter's going to charge you say $3.50 a square foot to paint in and out. You can buy the paint for $1,500 because most of the time spent in painting is actually masking, caulking, prepping. So you go through and caulk the outside over 2 weekends, and you go caulk the inside, and then the next weekend you mask all the windows, shoot all the trim, leave the masking up, don't suffocate in your house, and then shoot the body, and then go inside, maybe go room by room, mask the floor, paint the walls, leave the ceiling, move to the next room, move all the furniture out of that one into the next one. So that's why it's like the weekend warrior thing. And then you're just simply, instead of drinking beer and watching football, you're got a paint roll in your hand. With 104 weekends, even if you did it every other weekend or one a month, you probably get a ton done if you're actually concentrated on it. Go. Let's go make some calls.